Well, this is just to show you how bad the flooding has gotten here down at the bottom part of the allotment. Although there is some standing water and puddles on my plot, all these plots down here must be totally saturated. As we're on a slight slope here, all the water just runs down here, and yeah, the draining's not very good. The council did try and improve the draining a couple of years ago, but as you can see, it's not really worked. Not for the volume of rain we've had last week anyway. So yeah, been a wet week so far, and it's going to be another wet weekend, so I don't think there's going to be many people working these plots this weekend. Welcome back to the plot, everyone. It's the end of January, so I've just come up to the plot to pick some leeks up for the weekend before it starts raining again. The weather's been really bad over the past couple of weeks, as is everywhere in the UK, but we've had a lot of rain and we're due for a lot of rain over the next 48 hours again. So I'm just going to give you a quick whistle stop tour of a plot to see what's done and what's not done. Then I'm going to grab some leeks and head home. So let's turn this camera around. Okay, starting off with the bed that I grew my peas in. I took down the covers last week. Not the covers, the sort of like pea frame last week. And this area just needs weeded and it's good to go. The raised bed is still covered over for the winter, not using that. There's a pot there that's got some bulbs in it, but as you can see, it's shattered with the frost. The dampness has got into it, then the frost has got and then frozen it. So that's just shattered, so that's going to go in the tip sometime soon. On this bed, I've got my leeks, and I've got a couple of scratchy lettuces. I don't think these lettuces are going to be up for much. The leeks aren't that great either, but there's enough of them. Not too bad. There's enough of them there that I can pick 2 or 3 to have for a meal. I'm going to make cockaleaky soup this weekend. So yeah, I'll dig some of those up. The ground's absolutely saturated, you can't work on it. It's just too wet. This bed where I've got the carrots in just needs weeded. Oh, there's a carrot I missed. There you go. There's a little one I missed. I'll leave that for the critters to have. That just needs weeded. I'm going to do things slightly different in this bed this year. I'm still going to do the carrots, but I'm going to do something different so that it's not plagued with so many weeds. This is the rhubarb bed. And these are the crowns of rhubarb here. There's one there and there's one there, and as you can see, we're starting to get new shoots of rhubarb coming through, so that'll be good. In this bed, there's going to be more carrots again this year. I've got some spring onions. I'm going to do things different this year with the spring onions. Growing them in here with the carrots was a bad idea, really. I mean, we did get some spring onions, but a lot of them are so small. So I'm going to do something different in there this year, just carrots, and I'll do my spring onions differently. The blueberries are, well, they're dormant at the moment, but there's buds coming. Things are beginning to start growing, so it shouldn't be long before they got going. This is my broad beans. I tried shoring this up last week to try and give them some protection against a sort of like a windbreak protection against the wind. Not sure how well it's worked. This bed, onions and garlics, all doing well, as you can see. Some doing okay so far, end of January, and the onions are all coming up as well. So that's all good stuff. The potato bed is covered. The potato bed is covered because we're not using that at the minute. The end of March when I start putting my potatoes in the pots, and then I'll put the pots in the ground here, so that can sit like that. This bed has got some pak choy and Swiss chard in it that I put in before the winter. The slugs decimated the pak choy and it started growing again, but it just looks like it's food for the slugs. Strangely enough, they haven't touched the Swiss chard, although the Swiss chard is not really doing very well. Maybe it's just too cold. Wait and see what happens when the weather warms up a little bit. This area was the area I wanted to get finished this winter, but the bad weather and things have just made it too difficult. As you can see, we've had a lot of rain recently, so it's just made it all that more difficult to come up and do anything. This area needs cleared out as well. As you can see, more standing water. I didn't know this area got waterlogged so badly. Nothing in the greenhouse. That just needs a little tidy out before I put my chilies in there and my sweet peppers. More of that later. Compost heap. There's a couple of turnips that I threw in there and the muley, basically because they're all hollowed out by the slugs. The slugs I've got inside and hollowed them all out. There's nothing in them, or very little. As you can see, the holes on the side where the slugs have eaten their way in. So that's that. The raspberries, I want to weed this and mulch this with the straw I've got from the rabbits back home. So I just need a few dry days just to make it a bit easier. It's not easy weeding in all the mud. This is the, what do you call them? Gooseberries and strawberries. So this just needs weeded as well. It's looking a bit neglected at the moment, but a good weed will sort that out. So that's the bed really. Let's see what we've got over here. This should be the Calabrese broccoli. Let's see. A little bit of a broccoli head there. It's not very tight and loose. But it looks like something's been stripping these. That looks more like pigeons, but well, maybe a crafty pigeon that can make its way under there. Let's see if I can put this back down again. So this kale, it's not really doing much good. There is new leaves coming in on it, so we'll just leave it for now. We'll get something off that later. It's looking not bad at the top, down the bottom's a bit raggedy. The ground is absolutely saturated. There's nothing really going to get done up here this weekend. Managed to clear the shed out, well, tidy it up at least. So I've got enough space to sit in if it starts raining while I'm up here. No mice in the mice trap. Did catch one last week, but nothing this week. Well, that's the plot for January. Not, as I said, not an awful lot going on at this time of the year. As you can see all around, there's no one else up here. I'm only up here to get some leaks, then I'm going to go home because we are due for a lot of rain later this weekend, about 24 hours full worth of rain. So I'm going to stop filming here, get my leaks and get back to the house, and I'll show you some things going on back home later. Bye for now. Okay, we're back home now, and I am just going to show you how I plan and manage what I'm going to do on the allotment. I use a software called Trello, Trello, and I use that to manage the allotment and plan what I'm going to do ahead. So let me just show you what the actual software looks like. And here is what I've got for a monthly planner. So I've got this as my monthly planner for 2021. And as you can see, I've got in January, plant chilli seeds, plant red onion seeds, plant leek seeds, plant sweet pepper, and I've also planted some cauliflower seeds. Now we're going to February. You can see what I've got planned for February. Some broccoli seeds, beetroot seeds, thyme, oregano, sage and coriander. These will all be sown indoors because it'll still be too cold in February to plant these out. And March, as you can see, as we get into this spring, it starts getting busier. So March we've got carrot seed, plant tomato seed, that will be indoors as well, or in the potting shed probably. Plant turnip seeds, a lot of these will be planted out as indoors in the potting shed, then taken out and replanted as seedlings, as probably in April and May, as the weather warms up and the seedlings get bigger. But it does no harm to start them off early in the seedlings, in the potting shed as seedlings. And you can see it goes all the way through the year to December, where there's nothing really in there in December. Of course, all these can be changed at any one time. If for some reason we get to July and I've got space to put in some spring onions, I can easily move that over to there. If I want to do some pak choy, I can do the same. So I can move things about from month to month, depending on availability. I mean, it's good to have a plan, but it's also good to be flexible enough to change your plan when you need it. This plan is sort of like a top level plan where it may be a good idea to do these things, but depending on the weather, depending on space, depending on how well things grow. If things don't germinate first time, I might have to resow seeds and regerminate. If we get bad weather, then I might have to start over again. So that's my overall year planner. And I've got another board that I use for the allotment. And this one's slightly different. This one's got a lot more work in it. What I've got here to start with, going from left to right, I've got a to-do list. Now the ones with the red labels are priority 1, mulch raspberries. That's what I've got to do. That's the next time I get some dry weather up at the allotment. I want to mulch raspberries, cover the pea bed. Then as lower priorities, I want to measure the lid for the water barrel to put a cover over it. I was going to have a trench with overflow from my water butt to the blue barrel. But I'm not sure that's going to happen. Then I'll raise the blue water. I want to put a tap in the blue water butt and raise it up to make it easier to fill things. So I could easily give that a higher priority by give it priority 2. And there you go. Of course, once these things have been started, the move from to do to in progress. So all these things I've in the middle of doing or started and not got back to. Then this column here is all the things that have been completed. As you can see, there's a lot there. Plant lettuce, measure compost bin bay front. That was put a new front cover on one of the compost bays. Plant spring onions, move gooseberries, done that. Drilled carrot box, did that. Remove paving slabs from shed, did that. Remove compost bin from home. Remove compost from bin home, did that. So these three are really my to do, in progress and done list. This fourth list is what I've got planted in 2021. So you can see I've got pictures here, and what I do is I take a picture of the seed packet so I can always go back and refer to it if I have to. So I've got here, these are my onions. They are Autumn Champion. And as you can see, this is the label that was on the seed onions. So I'll just close that and have a look at the broad beans aquadulce. These are in the ground. They did start off by having a different label. They did start off by having in containers and indoors. No, I didn't want to do that. In containers and indoors. But once I planted them in the ground, the label gets changed to in the ground. There you go. And I've also got pictures of the packet. These are from Mr. Fothergill's broad bean aquadulce. And I've also got a picture of the back of the packet to show instructions of how to sow and when to sow, things like that. So this will come in handy ever, well, possibly later on in the year to say, will I be able to sow another batch in June? Well, no, not really. These are overwinter broad beans, and you really need to start them off in October, November. They'll go through over December and January and February. Then they start shoot off again, and you harvest them in June, July and August. So as you can see, I've got red onions. These are indoors in containers. And these are Red Baron I've got. So the Red Baron, and I don't know if that's in focus. Doesn't look like it. So Red Baron, and that's all the instructions in the back. I can see it good on the screen. I just don't think it's filming correctly. I think it's a little bit out of focus. There you go. So this is good, and the Trello thing is good for having all sorts of things. These are things I had planted out last year. To be honest, I'll probably get rid of this this table here, and this is measurements of my bed. So there's a rhubarb bed. This is 90 centimetres by 180 centimetres. And I've got one here of my favourite crops, which I just make a note of the varieties that I've had good success with, and I'll mark them down. So once I get through the box of seeds I've got, and I have to start buying seeds, then I'll start looking through this list to see what my favourite varieties are, and I shall be buying them. So this is how I plan my allotment. You don't have to do this. A lot of people just use a spreadsheet, or you can just use pencil and paper, really, a notepad, which works equally as well if that's the way you like to work. Pencil and pad works equally well because you can take that up the allotment with you, and you've got it with you at hand, so you can actually write things down and change things if you have to. But I find this quite useful as it is. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Yeah, I'll let you know how I get on. Now, down here, I've got my peppers and chilies. Here are the KL chilies that I'm doing for the challenge. These were planted the 1st of the 1st, 2021. They're indoors and they're in containers, and I'll be able to show you them right now. Well, this is a gift I got for Christmas, and I just thought I'd share it with you to show you what's actually in it. It's a easy to grow all year round vegetable seed kit, and it's got 15 varieties of seeds. Turn it round and look at the back. It's got mange 2, broccoli, cabbage, carrot, tomato, pak choy, lettuce, radish, parsley, purple sprouting broccoli, chard, French beans, celery, spring onions, mustard seeds, and 15 plant markers and a vegetable growing guide. So the whole thing comes in this tinfoil lined sort of envelope, which is resealable and waterproof, which will be rather good if it's at the allotment because things tend to get wet or dirty while they're up there. So let's see what we get. Well, here are all the seeds that are included. So there's a chard, cabbage, mustard seeds, radish, purple sprouting broccoli. Now, I haven't had much luck with broccoli, and it's a shame because we eat a lot of it. So I'm going to try this through the year, and I'm going to try the normal green calabrese we get, because it's very frustrating not being able to get them. Purple climbing French beans, lamb's lettuce, Alicante tomatoes, spring onions. We use a lot of them. They'll be good. Celery. I've never grown celery before, so that'll be something worthwhile try out. Pak choy. That pak choy looks nice. Parsley. Give that a go. Mange 2 and carrots. Also included in the packet is how to grow your veg all year round guide with instructions of what to try before you dig in, and growing instructions and tips on how to protect against slugs and pests, things like that. So there you go. And on the back, let us celebrate peas on earth and free seeds for all customers. For your free gift, please visit, and there you go, visit the website and claim your free gift. Other things included are just 15 of the lollipop sticks plant markers, biodegradable plant markers. Now, the one thing I noticed about all these seeds is that they are all heirloom varieties. Now, what that means is that these seeds have been passed down from generation to generation. They've been passed on. There are old varieties that have been passed on because they either grow, they're a good cropper or a good flavour. So they've been passed down through the years purely because ease of growing or the flavour or they're good croppers. The other thing it says on here is they're non-GMO seeds, which means there's no genetic modification, which I'm not too bothered about with my seeds, to tell you the truth. But what it means for these is that they don't have the same resistance to pests and disease that some newer varieties of vegetable seeds might have, because of the newer ones might be engineered with some genetic modification to make them more resistant to blight or taste awful to slugs or whatever like that. But I'm not bothered. These, as I said, these are time-tested seeds. They've been grown for a long time and they've passed the time. So it'll be interesting to see how these compared to some of the other seeds that I'll be growing this year. Well, that's it for another month. Not an awful lot of work done at the allotment this month because of the weather and the time of year with the growing season. But hopefully the weather will improve in next month and we'll be able to get up there and do a few of the jobs that we've got planned for the winter time. Because come time March, we're going to be so busy planting things, we're not going to have time to cut grass or do any of the other chores. But thank you for watching. If you're interested in these types of videos, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching and I'll see you all next month. Bye.